Dickie Dread, The New Age Travellers, A History 1960 to 1990. Chapter 4, The Peace Convoy Gathers Strength. Back to the festival fields. The Elephant Fair was a unique cultural flashpoint in the 1980s, alternative festival circuit. Held annually from 1981 to 1986 on the grounds of Port Eliot Estate in St Germans, Cornwall, it was organised with the support of the Earl of St Germans and quickly became a magnet for travellers, anarchists, punks, artists and freaks of every stripe. What set the Elephant Fair apart was its deliberate embrace of the unruly, a blend of avant-garde performance, DIY ethos and countercultural experimentation that rivalled even Stonehenge in its raw energy. Festival magazine in the late 1980s, the Elephant Fair felt like a dream you could walk onto. One minute you'd be watching a fire breather, the next you're sitting around a fire with someone dressed like Merlin. It was the last time I felt like the land was actually being shared. Even the Lord was into it. Out of interest, it was the first festival I ever attended. Though it started relatively small and experimental, the Elephant Fair grew rapidly, with later years drawing tens of thousands. It was not a commercial festival. There were no fences, few rules, and its stages hosted everything from early psychobilly acts, punk bands to circus theatre and shamanic rituals. For travellers, the Elephant Fair was not just a gathering point, it was a validation. The landowner allowed parking of buses and trucks on the estate, creating a rare, state-tolerated confluence of nomadic and artistic. However, its open ethos eventually became its undoing. In 1986, amid media scrutiny and local pressure over drug use, thefts and a growing police presence, the Earl withdrew the cancelled future events. In traveller law, the Elephant Fair remains a moment of a rare openness, a place where convoy culture, the arts and the landowning class briefly aligned. It coincided with the broader crackdown on free festivals across the UK. Between 1980 and 1983, the Stonehenge Free Festival went from a relatively niche spiritual gathering of New Age seekers and crusty hippies to a sprawling anarchic pop-up city. Each June, thousands of people arrived, many by bus, truck or hitchhike, to celebrate the summer solstice just outside the ancient stones. The festival site sat on land owned by English heritage and adjacent farmers. Initially tolerated, the event was viewed as mostly harmless counterculture, but as numbers surged from hundreds in the 1970s to tens of thousands in 1983, authorities began to take notice. The Peace Convoy, not yet named as such, was forming organically at these events, a loose network of mobile homes, buses and wagons travelling between festivals, protest sites and communes. Stonehenge was their spiritual heart. By 1983, Stonehenge Festival was seen by the establishment not as a harmless hippie party, but a political threat, mobile, unpredictable and beyond standard control. Thatcher's government, already hard at work dismantling mining unions and criminalising dissent, saw the free festival scene as another disruptive force. Authorities reacted on multiple fronts. Surveillance teams began infiltrating festival networks. English Heritage partnered with local farmers to block access routes with fences. Wiltshire police expanded their presence, issuing warnings, increasing arrests. Local newspapers began to parrot terms like scum, drug-fuelled rabble, and a menace to farming. Meanwhile, the traveller community grew tighter and more determined. Former Greenham protesters, some in all-women bus crews, brought political experience and hard-won resilience. Anarcho-punk networks helped spread information and resources. Peace Convoy as an idea solidified in 1984. The name began appearing in leaflets and anarchist zines. Buses flew banners. Peace, not war. We remember Greenham. No nukes, no bosses. The 1984 Stonehenge Free Festival was huge. By some estimates, up to 30,000 people attended. Stretched across multiple fields, with sound systems blaring, campfires burning and New Age ceremonies mixing with punk gigs and acid-fueled chaos. This was the last full-scale festival before the infamous crackdown of 1995, and it carried a sense of peak and foreboding. Key events during the 1984 festival included the establishment of a sacred zone near the stones, where druids, mystics and spiritual travellers held solstice ceremonies, separate from the loud and more chaotic areas. There were performances by key underground bands like Here and Now, Hawkwind in some form, and various anarcho-punk acts, often using homemade PA stages or PA rigs powered by ex-army generators. This year also saw the launch of the Stonehenge People's Free Press, a zine produced on site reporting festival updates, poetry, police watch alerts and political rants. There was also a major convoy logistics meeting where leading crews discussed plans for a roaming summer of festivals including Torpedo Town, Ashton Court and small Welsh gatherings. There were early signs of tension with the authorities, including low-altitude police helicopter flyovers, plainclothes surveillance and vehicle spot checks at key access roads. Rumours of agents provocateurs raised paranoia and infiltration by state, a concern that would grow more justified after the Battle of the Beanfield. Despite the size, there was minimal violence and relatively little theft, but the press painted it as a public menace, and Babylon took notes. In 1984, marked a cultural summit and the edge of a precipice. At the same time, the site became a place for radical networking where anti-nuclear activists, Earth First, CND organisers and anarchists shared plans, a refuge from the road-weary travellers, some parked up for weeks before and after, and lightning a rod for state power as Wiltshire police collected intelligence and set legal wheels in motion. The mood was euphoric but tense. Everyone sensed that authorities were waiting to strike. In the aftermath of the 1984 festival, a legal injunction was issued by English Heritage, local landowners to ban the gathering in 1985. The state was done tolerating it. There was also a worry that after 12 years of being an established festival, there were English laws that would make it official, or at least more difficult to stop. Thatcher was not going to allow that to happen. Key developments. Police prepared a major operation to intercept the Peace Convoy. Conservative politicians used warnings about festivals of anarchy. Vehicle checkpoints surveilled flights and anti-traveller propaganda increased across the southwest. Travellers began getting evicted more frequently from wintering spots like Worthing, Porchester and Stony Cross. Still, the convoy prepared for the 1985 festival, unaware of how violent the pushback would be. Preparation for battle. The Thatcher government, already deep into union busting and privatisation, saw the convoy as a test case for civil control. A mobile resistant subculture didn't just break planning law, it broke the illusion of consensus. In 1984, new legislation gave police sweeping powers to evict without court orders. Known squatters were added to surveillance lists. Some convoy kids were removed by social services, citing unsafe living conditions. Police carried intelligence files on individual buses and rigs. This sets us up for 1985, the year of the Battle of the Beanfield. Before the blood and battens, there was a long road filled with diesel fumes, sound systems and the dream of a freer way to live. By early 1985, it was clear Babylon intended to stop the next festival, at all costs. The government evoked new trespass laws and prepared a coordinated police operation to intercept the Peace Convoy before it reached Wiltshire. What followed was one of the most brutal police actions against civilians in post-war Britain, the Battle of the Beanfield, which took place on the 1st of June 1985. In May 1985, a fleet of around 140 vehicles, buses, lorries, vans and wagons began heading towards Stonehenge. Some had kids in them, others carried generators, animals, food and other tat. No one knew what was to come.